So we're in Newstadt Brewery in Newstadt, Ontario. I'm here with Andy Stimpson, the head brewer, master brewer, the only brewer? The brewer.
Only brewer.
Excellent. And we are going to taste through the regular range of beers that you have here. And these are all available year-round, correct?
Yes.
Great. So shall we start with the Scottish Ale?
Scottish Ale. Scottish Ale is a pale ale style, but a Scottish pale ale style. Subtly different to the English pale ale style in that it's maltier, not as hoppy, not as bitter, but maltier.
And this was your first beer, correct?
This was our first beer, which originally set off life as a Scottish heavy. Unfortunately, people around here didn't like heavy beer, although it wasn't. So we changed the style a little bit.
Now I have a question. You and Val came down from England, and you settled in this village that is predominantly German, if I'm not mistaken. How did you settle on a Scottish beer for your first beer?
Telephone book.
The telephone book. Okay.
Read the telephone book. It's all Mac. It's all Scots.
Okay.
But they're all sixth generation. They don't know what we're talking about.
So you thought you'd appeal to the local demographic.
Exactly. It didn't work, mind. So as you can see, it's a darker, slightly darker than you'd expect a pale ale to be. It's got a nice...
Caramel.
Somewhat, yeah. We do use Demerara sugar in this beer. It's very historically sort of correct to use sugars. And the Demerara we bring in from Jamaica, it's the thickest, blackest we can get, which does help with the colour, but it gives it a very slight rum, raisiny type of flavour and nose. But I don't take it in the flavour. It's there, it's a component part, but it's not predominant.
There's definitely a sweetness in the nose, yeah.
And in the flavour, it's not an over heavy beer.
And it's not as sweet as it smells at all.
No.
It's almost toasty.
It's hard for me to say because, as you know, I smoke. And being in the grain so often, I've got a constant cold, as most brewers have. It's made for drinking. It's not made for sipping. It's a drinking beer. It's what the rate beer guys class as session, whatever that might mean. But you can sit down, drink 2 or 3 glasses, no problem.
Yeah.
As opposed to having a stout or a porter or something else that you just want one. This is something you can drink a few of. And it's always done very well. It's got its supporters, it's got its people that don't like it, but you're always going to get that. But I really think the New Zealand hops we use really do a lot for this beer.
I'm tasting the hop in the finish, mostly.
Yeah.
And it gives the beer a nice clean finish.
Yeah, the bitterness isn't at all over the top with it. It's there, but it's again a component part. It's not the be all and end all of this beer. It blends together as throughout the swallow. It blends, which is good beer. Well,
just looking for a balance.
Exactly.
In the flavour of the beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Where an English bitter would be predominantly more bitter in the start, and maybe even more floral in the finish.
And you were talking about the New Zealand hops that you use in this beer, and what sort of flavors do those usually impart?
The one that's doing the main bittering in this imparts a peppery type of pinch to it. The aroma hop just gives a nice slight floral, slight citrus. None of the hops we use are over the top.
So you're just using the different ingredients together to create a balance and letting them meld into each other to create one overall flavor? Overall
flavor with components that don't pop up, they're just there. You subtly sort of realize that you've just had another experience. And that to me is what a good beer is all about. And of course as it warms, other flavors will come through. This beer for me is too cold.
Having said that, it's still quite flavorful at this temperature.
Yeah.
Yeah. What can we expect to taste when it warms up?
The malts come up a little bit. The heaviness, the fullness of the beer comes through a little bit more. And the aroma starts to come off a little bit faster than it is at the moment. Mm-hmm. It's very locked in, which is why you need to shake it out.
Oh, that's delightful.
And it's got a nice lacing, which again, the head is important. The head helps to keep the gas in the beer. If the beer is flat, the gas can escape. So it's important to have a nice head. And that lacing tells you it's a decent balanced beer because it does stick to the glass. Poorly done beers with grits and rice and corn, this doesn't happen. You don't get this because it's too fermentable.
Just clean down the sides.
There's not enough protein left in to create anything like this. So that's Newstadt Ale.
Excellent. And the next beer that you brewed was the lager, correct?
Was the lager.
All right, so let's try that one next.